Welcome, everybody, to Soccer 101. My name is Taylor Rockwell, and this week, as ever, we've got a fun topic, an exciting topic, a topic that I think will lead to less hand-talking than the one of last time, Graham. This time we're talking free kicks. It's a bit more direct. See what I did there? But plenty to discuss, plenty to break down, plenty to go over with free kicks and the glory thereof.
There certainly is. It's one of those episodes that I feel like every so often on 101 we stumble across a subject that I'm like, surely we've done that before.
Right.
And we haven't. So I guess we're ticking one off the list here. Were free kicks ever your thing, Taylor? Or are they, you still play, are they your thing? Can you bend it like Beckham?
I can put a little bend on it. I can hit them occasionally. I would never say it's like a thing that I point to first as being a primary skill set. I've known players who can, and I've played against players who can just like hit it on frame every single time, put it in the corner, bend it around the wall. I don't have that ability. Sometimes I have the confidence to try, though.
It's one of those things that, look, this is clearly ignorance shining through here, but because it's soccer, obviously, is a very fluid, mobile sport, but free kicks are one of the rare occasions where it's like a routine, you can rehearse it, and when I was researching this, I was like, why don't players score free kicks more often? But that's clearly just ignorance shining through. I don't know whether it's the pressure. Obviously, there's a goalkeeper in the goal, which is one of the factors. But yeah, it's one of the few, like as I say, like rehearsable things that you can practice in soccer.
In my experience, it is something though that is more like fluid and muscle memory than it is. Like once you start to add, it's like similar to golf. Once you start adding in, like hit it this way and strike the ball that way, and make sure you hit it that way and don't do that, like you end up just either skying it or slamming it into the wall, one way or the other. But when you just kind of trust the feel of it, occasionally maybe you'll put it on frame. We can add that to the skills challenge.
Maybe that's the variation. Like David, yes, actually, that's the point I want to pick up on. Let's add the free kicks to the skill challenge for the TSS Patreon content next year.
I'm glad we're on the same page. I've put it in the notes, Graham. I'm having a hard time with names this week. Graham, it is on the list. I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to talk free kicks. Let's get into the history thereof, and it goes back quite a way. Am I correct in saying that the original laws of the game include variations of free kicks?
Yeah, so when they were first, the laws of the game were first codified by the FA in 1863, free kicks were part of that codification. They were actually abolished when the rules were revised, and from 1866 until 1872, there were no free kicks in soccer. And as I read it, the referee would have the power to stop the game if they deemed something to be too physical, but apparently that rarely happens, with it being 1870. And it wasn't until 1870 that handling the ball was completely banned for outfield players. So that was interesting. Didn't know that. And when you dig deeper into the first laws of soccer, you realise that it was all a process, right? Because even when they brought in free kicks, or when they brought them back into the laws of the game, they didn't specify how you had to take it. And as we know now, you have to take it on the ground, and players have to be 10 yards away. But it's a process. Like that 10-yard rule that I've just referenced there, that didn't come in until 1913. Before that, it was 6 yards. And before that, it was 0 yards. You could basically just stand on top of the ball when it was being taken. And then even as recently as like 2019, the rule that we stumbled upon with the Eze free kick on opening weekend of the Premier League season, which is that the team taking the free kick, their members of their team can't be within a metre of the wall when the kick is taken. That was introduced in 2019. So even until fairly recently, these things are pretty fluid with IFAB.
I would say of all the variations you've just gone through, Graham, the most major one would probably be 1903, when you get direct free kicks being introduced. So that's the separation between direct and indirect free kicks, and the basic difference there would be a direct free kick can be taken directly, aka can be shot on target, can be passed from one player to the next, but it's basically one player can trigger the whole sequence of events, whereas indirect requires a player to touch it before a shot can be taken. It's basically a non-shooting offense, essentially, which means it's a more minor infraction, which is perhaps why we don't see it as often. Or I guess we see it a lot, we just maybe don't realize it's an indirect free kick, because I believe like offside technically results in an indirect free kick. You're just not going to shoot from your own half that often, so You're usually going to pass that indirect free kick restart.
Yeah, it can be confusing sometimes because referees very rarely actually specify what's been given, or not very rarely, they don't make a show of it. So if you've ever seen a referee raising their arm as a free kick is taken, that's the indication for an indirect free kick. But as you say, Taylor, because those are most commonly like offsides or things that are in the opposition half, because of course you can't be offside in your own half. It's just taken very quickly. There's not much of a routine about it. You might see the referee kind of like running away with their arm up, but there's not much of a spectacle or a show to it. So yeah, we do see indirect free kicks all the time, but not in an area of the pitch that makes a difference, or the fact that they are indirect, because you're not going to shoot from your own half, of course. So it's only for things like if the goalkeeper handles a back pass inside their area, and that obviously doesn't happen very often. But when it does, it's great fun when you have the player laying it off and then the opposition charging it down and you get the shot from like 6 yards out. It's always a good time.
That's one of my favorite moments you get, like the indirect free kick from 6 yards out where it's just everybody on the line. There's going to be some chaos. I feel like rarely do you end up seeing that scored. I don't know why, but it always creates for a very fun setting. So too do free kicks, direct free kicks, that is, oftentimes. I feel like we don't see them getting scored nearly as often as we see them being taken, not surprisingly, but still, it's the opportunity to see just like the shot struck directly into the top corner of the net, through traffic, over the wall, past the outstretched goalkeeper. It's one of the like iconic moments you can get in the sport. Yeah,
aesthetically, when you get a free kick goal from the right part of the pitch that's struck the correct way, it's just there's nothing better, right? We're recording this a few days after Dominic Szoboszlai stuck one in the top corner for Liverpool against Arsenal from about 30 yards out. And there's nothing better in soccer than a moment like that. We should say that not all free kicks have to be or can be shots. Obviously, we mentioned indirect free kicks for like offsides. Technically, can't be shots. But it could be just a free kick, could be just to start possession rolling again, right? So it could be a short 5 to 10 yard pass. You might be in a position to get across into the final third. A goalkeeper might also just want to lump it long. We see that late on in games as teams chase a goal and they just want to get it forward as quickly as possible. But then, of course, if you are within range, you'll frequently see, usually at least once a game, a player having a shot from a free kick. I found a study by the University of Stirling that said, I did look at other universities, by the way, it was just one that
sure.
You wouldn't believe this talking to me, Taylor, but the University of Stirling is like Scotland's sports university. So anytime there's a study on, and also you wouldn't believe it knowing that Stirling Albion shares the same town as the Sports University of Scotland. But they had a study which looked at the ideal shooting range for a free kick. And their study said that the ideal shooting range is 21.75 yards from goal. According to their model, more free kicks go in from that range. I presume they fed like thousands of free kicks into their model, but that is apparently the range that more goals are scored from with free kicks than any other position on the field. That same study from Stirling Uni said that 18 to 20 yards. I mean, this is all stuff that you would think, right? This is all pretty common sense, but they did put kind of some methodology behind it. 18 to 20 yards has a lower success rate than 20 to 25 yards, but 25 yards plus is the least successful range for scoring directly from a free kick. So I guess, you hear that, is this free kick too close? You would rather be too close than too far away, where the success rate is it just plummets. There's always a chance with a free kick right on the edge of the box. You might not be able to get it up and down over the wall. You might not be able to get that like Beckham style dip or whip on it. But there's always a chance that if you just batter it hard enough at the wall, that the wall will part, or it picks up a deflection, ends up in the back of the net. The goalkeeper doesn't have as much time to react. So that's what that study basically showed.
Yeah, I kind of think that saying is more of like a saying than it is based in reality. They're like, oh, it's a little too close for a free kick here. You want about a yard, but like, I don't know. I guess you're going to have to sacrifice power to make sure that you get the ball up and down. But I still think proper placement and just the right amount of power, you're going to have a bit more joy than, to your point, trying to go from 30 yards out with maximum power and maximum swerve. Which does speak to the idea that you can have different ranges. You can also have different ways of taking a free kick, and that can be as simple as like instep when you're trying to put more of a bend on it. It could be laces with not a lot of follow through, especially if you're hitting it right on the point where you can inflate the ball, like the hole for the needle. The valve, thank you. That's what a lot of free kick takers, Cristiano Ronaldo, has always sworn by. Hit it on that spot to create that kind of unpredictable swerve on the ball. You can also go Trivela. You can go outside of the foot and try to bend it the other way and add a little bit of disguise to it. All of those are effective, and then you can go for the kind of like chipped ball into the box or chip ball in behind or more designed set piece as well. Other different ways of taking a free kick, Graham, or is that about the range?
No, just when you were running through them there, has anyone ever taken a Rabona free kick? Surely someone has, but
a disguised Rabona. I guess if you don't have to, because occasionally if you don't ask for the wall and you don't ask, and the defense doesn't ask for the whistle, you don't have to wait. And so I could see a scenario in which the defense is setting up a wall, not realizing that you haven't asked for it, and then you just go for the little Rabona over the top. Maybe you could catch somebody, but I can't think of a time that that's happened. We should look it up. Who would be the player that you would trust to pull off the Rabona free kick, Graham? Or maybe more simply, who's the player that you most trust to hit that free kick on target to score you a goal when you need it?
Oh, I mean, it's got to be Juninho Pernambucano, right?
That's the answer.
He
Done and dusted.
Apparently has the most free kick goals of all time, 77. He was an absolute menace for Lyon back in the day. I think David Beckham is certainly the most iconic free kick taker of all time, in that it was just so central to his brand as a player. If you think of the iconic Beckham silhouette, in fact, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if this made it across to the US, he had his own line of no, it's not the Marks and Spencer. Sorry, I'm working this out in my own head, Taylor. He had two different lines of merch. He had one with Marks and Spencer's, which is like a quintessential British high street chain, which I presume didn't make it over to the US. I'm thinking of, he had a line of merch with Adidas, and I think his logo was actually, I knew one of them was the logo of him taking a free kick, which you know what it is, Taylor. It's that very distinctive shape when he's striking the ball, where like he's got like an outstretched arm that's like quite high, and he's quite like low to the ground to get like the instep of his foot in that bend. So yeah, I think Beckham is surely, I mean, he has a blooming Hollywood movie named after essentially him taking free kicks.
Yeah. I think in between Juninho and Beckham, supposedly you've got Pele, because Pele scored all the goals in the world and then some. Lionel Messi, high on that list. Ronaldinho, also pretty high on that list. But yeah, I think of Juninho like less like famously, I think, across the world, but is kind of renowned for that ability. But David Beckham is probably the first name you think of when it comes to taking free kicks. It's a little bit more varied these days, I would say. You get more names. I'm not sure there's one name in particular that I think of right away.
I think there is, and I think it's Lionel Messi. But I take your point, beyond Lionel Messi, it feels like a bit of a blob of like, I don't know who. So Messi, I think he might have been on that list that I think we're both referencing. Yeah, he's high on that list. And you know, even though some of the old pace and mobility has gone from Messi, he can still strike a dead ball as well as anyone else on the planet. So I think he is the clear answer right now. But beyond him, like, who would it be? Hakan Çalhanoğlu. He's up there. Trent Alexander-Arnold.
James Ward-Prowse is one that I always put in my fantasy teams, because you can count on a few free kick goals from him every season.
Yeah, Angel Di Maria scored an absolute belter for Rosario Central a couple of weeks ago, but I think he's pretty decent from free kick range. This might be recency bias, not so much for Liverpool, but for Hungary. Dominic Szoboszlai has a really good record. He was actually asked about it after the game. Now that Trent Alexander-Arnold is gone, are you going to be able to take some more free kicks? And his answer was yes, as we saw at the weekend. So yeah, I think current day, those are the nominations. Just going back to a couple more, or one more, excuse me, Taylor, from yesteryear, Shinsuke Nakamura. Oh yeah, I have to mention him because that's similar to Juninho Pernambucano. That he was a good player, but if we're being real, the lasting legacy of Nakamura is his free kicks. In particular, that one he scored against Manchester United for Celtic in the Champions League, which is an all-timer.
It truly is, and he is one that I remember like having that fear of, like, when he's in shooting range and steps over the ball, you're sort of like, uh-oh, this is probably going on frame. I hope we can keep it out. And in that case, Manchester United could not. That is a great shout, Graham. In terms of the individual free kick, like the best ones of all time, according to us, Beckham versus Greece, I think it has to be on that list for the clutchness, for the moment, for the occasion, for the fact that it sends them on to the tournament, to the Euros. Is that what
it qualifies them for the World Cup. Yeah, England were struggling to qualify, and that's the goal that gets it done.
It's a great take. It's a great soundbite. The commentator, the crowd, everything about it is lovely. Do we think Declan Rice with the double in the Champions League last season, will that end up being iconic?
Not actually on my list, but that's an oversight. Yeah, the Declan Rice double, I think, is pretty iconic.
maybe most iconic in my mind is Roberto Carlos, the
Yeah.
bendy smash free kick, which, is that a trivela, or is that just like laces put all the way through it and then a weird spin on the ball?
No, I don't think it's a trivela. I think it's just laces right the way through it that there's just so much swaz on that ball. I mean, it's the banana kick, right? That's the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Brazil against France, 1997. There's this view behind the ball, which
Insane.
you've obviously seen, Taylor. I'm sure a lot of listeners have seen it as well. It's absolutely outrageous.
It's like, oh, it's going out for a throw-in. Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's not. No, it's definitely not.
Yeah.
I've got one more nominee, Graham, but we'll want to make sure you get some in there too.
Yeah, so I think I could have come up with countless Messi examples, but I think the best Messi free kick is Barcelona against Liverpool in 2019. It's the game before the 4-0, so it often gets overlooked. It's the game before the 4-0 comeback at Anfield, so Liverpool actually make it through that two-legged tie to make the Champions League final. But Messi scores a free kick from, honestly, it has to be over 30 yards out. He's so far out, and he just arrows it into the top corner. There's not a huge amount of dip on it. It just makes it look so easy, which is the Lionel Messi way. Arguably my favourite free kick of all time, Taylor, is Dimitri Payet for West Ham against Palace in 2016, where, I don't know if you remember this one or if you've seen it. It goes so high. He's quite close, but somehow he's a one-man rebuttal to that idea that a free kick can be too close, because he is pretty close, and yet somehow he gets this incredible dip, and then it comes down like a roller coaster, or like a missile into the top corner and off the underside of the bar. Another one that I think deserves a mention is Cristiano Ronaldo against Portsmouth in 2008 for Manchester United. Unfortunately for the teams that he played for after that, it's the free kick that basically creates the entire myth that Ronaldo can hit those free kicks consistently. I don't think, he scored 1 in 10 years or something like that? Yes.
It's supposedly he's like 1 in 20 attempts, and Messi is 1 in 16. I find that very hard to believe.
I find that incredibly hard to believe.
Yeah.
That must be factoring in. I mean, there was a time for about,
when he scored all those
something?
goals in Canada, you wouldn't know them. They went to a different school.
Yeah, went to a different school. Those free kicks went to a different school. But yeah, that free kick against Portsmouth is absolutely incredible. It's so powerful. It's so straight. There's a view, again, similar to the Carlos one. There's a view from behind, which is just absolutely unbelievable. It's a missile into the top corner. And then I think the best Juninho Pernambucano one is Lyon against Bayern Munich in 2003. Similar to the Messi one that I talked about, he's just so far out. It's against Oliver Kahn, which I just think makes it even better. That's like a legendary goalkeeper that you're beating, goes in off the post with it, which aesthetically always makes free kicks look better. So those were my nominees.
Did we talk Ronaldinho already?
We didn't. Which one? The one
lob.
against the England one?
Yeah.
I mean, for obvious reasons, I enjoyed that. But
Did he mean it?
I think he did.
Okay.
I think he did
Okay.
mean it.
The lob, the height, the embarrassment, all beautiful, beautiful moments. You got to get a Dino moment in there as well. Graham, anything else from free kicks to be discussed? We didn't really talk about like ways of doing indirect free kicks, of ways of not taking it directly on frame. You can obviously have master set piece theater where you have very elaborate plays drawn up and very like different options for how to attack a direct free kick. But I think for purposes of this episode, we're largely focused on who is the best at hitting the ball into the back of the net when there's a dead ball situation.
Yeah, as you say, there's loads of different routines. You can have a range of players standing over a free kick, so there's a bit of deception there, which unsettles the goalkeeper. They don't really know which. Maybe you have. I think the idea there is if you have two, you will have like a left footer and a right footer, so the goalkeeper doesn't know which.
You
way
always
it's
kind of know,
coming.
though, don't you? I feel like there's
Sort
always
of,
that
yeah.
like you're not taking that.
I mean,
what are you doing?
The tell is whoever puts the ball down, right,
Yeah.
is taking the free kick. So if you're a goalkeeper, I'm keeping my eye on who places the ball, because I can't think of, I'm sure it's happened somewhere at some time, but basically exclusively whoever places the ball is hitting the free kick. But yeah, that's the idea. There's a bit of deception. I've even seen players, like they'll have three standing at the ball and then one will peel away around the wall to like create an option or an angle, and then they'll take the short pass and have a shot or cross it into the box. So yeah, there's countless different ways that you can make the most of that situation.
All right. Well, Graham Ruthven, thank you for making the most of this free kick situation with me. I look forward to the skills competition. We are going to have to kind of like fine-tune it between now and next summer, but we've got a lot of soccer to play when we are all together. And I think we had a poll on the TSS Discord as to who was going to win it. You got some votes in there. I think you were my vote, in fact.
See, the thing is, look, I don't want to oversell myself. See free kicks because it's static. I think what I struggle with in soccer a lot of the time is like when I have to do things at pace, or when it's like I feel like free kicks I was always okay at. Like I was always okay at like corners or crossing, or so. Like my theory is that maybe free kicks might be my thing. But when was the last time I took a free kick, Taylor? Probably about 15 years ago. So we'll see.
Oh, I'm pretty excited then. I'm pretty excited for it. I was already somewhat excited for it. Graham Ruthven, thank you for talking free kicks with me today, my friend.
Thank you, Taylor Rockwell.
Listeners, thank you all so much for listening. We greatly appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week.